yourself. And most of the times, a lot of women do it out of selfishness because they can't deal with the consequences that comes behind it. Yeah, yeah. Are those tattoos? Are they harming anybody by getting those tattoos? Yeah, but by them getting those tattoos, they're not physically unaliving actual human. They're just making other humans affected by it, but it's not harming them. It's not unaliving them any time in any kind of way. So that's not a good analogous to use when it comes to this type of argument. You got to unaliving what? What value? I mean, you could try to prove that. Yep. I mean, it just depends on how the circumstance plays out, how the situation is, and outcome. I can't tell the future. Like I said, depends on if I know what the outcome is going to be in the future. Then I'll pick whichever one is. It does. It does. Again, you're using another. Yeah, again, you're using another disanalogous argument to try to prove your point. It's not working. That like I said, is a majority of abortions happen by woman's selfishness. That's what I just said earlier. So, all right, do you value the baby? So wait, hold on, but they're living cells though. They're still living cells. So what? They're still alive. Wait, hold on. You just admitted that you will only save that 1 month, a 1 month old baby, but yeah, you wouldn't. Again, it's still alive though. It hasn't been functioning. My man, you're literally like going against your whole argument. These living cells function until you are the living cells haven't functioned until. Like, can I speak? Can I speak? Oh, wow. Yeah, but it still doesn't justify of the fact that you're saying you will just disregard those living cells and save a fully formed 1 month old baby. Again, these living cells, just like you just described, it hasn't been fully functioned into a human yet, right? Yet. That's because it's only been around for a short period of time. No, I care about just the full on outcome of it. I don't care about potential. I care about the full outcome on how it's gonna play out. No, it's oh my god, bro. Mom, well, once again, bro, literally, you just don't understand the difference between a full on living organism, a cell, rather than a full on functional human. You literally don't understand. All right, but again, no, I have dreads. No, I don't cut my hair. I have dreads, man. I have dreads. I don't cut my hair. You can look at my page. Yeah, retwist. Yeah. Um. Well, hair that, you know. Yeah, yeah, I get a shape up. Yeah, I get a shape up. All right. Are these living cells? Are these now? Now you're conflating. Now you're conflating. You are. My argument was about. You're misrepresenting. Okay, so let me ask you a question. The hair that falls off my hair, are they gonna form into a functional human being later in time? Yes or no? Okay, so the living cell specific. Wait, hold on. The living cell specifically, I'm getting to. It comes to a baby who's later in time going to full on function to a whole human. I'm not talking about human cell that comes to animals or my hair and stuff like that. We're talking about the babies. Why are you you're conflating what a human cell actually means? So, like I said, if you're Mm. Okay, so would you unalive your own living cell if you had a baby on the way, but it hasn't been fully functioning to a human? Would you convince your wife or your girlfriend to unalive? No, but I'm saying like, would you yourself would you want them to do that?
Would I want them to do that?
Yes, if they all right, if they had a choice to where they didn't want to keep the baby, right, but it hasn't been fully functioning to a human, would you like go along with it and say, okay, go ahead and do that?
Yeah, because it's their choice.
So then you don't care about humanity then.
I
That's
do care
that's on
about
you.
human. Hold on, because
No, you don't.
this is what I'm saying. 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 Okay, I do care about humanity. I'm putting humanity in in because what you care about is more of the potential of humanity, the potential of a cell. I don't care about the potential. I care about what it is. I can
Oh,
even
oh
show.
my
Hold on, listen.
God.
I can even show that you don't care about potential, but I'll do that later, right? When it comes to the cells, I do care about humanity, right? If I didn't care about humanity, I wouldn't believe in these things. I wouldn't believe in universal health care. I wouldn't believe in reparations. I wouldn't believe in universal education because I do care about humanity because these things make humanity better, right? So what I'm talking about is that when it comes to quote unquote cells, no one actually cares about living cells. We care about what they are, what they actually are. Like they're not their
The
potential to be
human
something
living
else.
cells, bro.
We don't care.
Oh
Hold
my
on,
God,
listen.
they're human living
The reason
cells,
the re-
not nothing else.
I understand that we're living cells, but we also have sentience, right?
Explain. Just
Sentience,
enlighten me.
meaning the ability for you and me to talk and reason. We have that, right?
Okay.
Do zygotes
Yeah.
have that?
Uh,
No, they don't have
like
that.
babies
When it
specifically?
comes to
Not yet. Not
when it
yet.
comes to yeah, not yet. That's what I'm saying. You care about potential. I don't care about potential. I can even show that you don't care about potential. Let me ask you a question, right?
But I
Would
mean,
you
you
hold
don't
on,
care
wait.
about
Let me ask you a question. Let me
humanity.
ask you a
This
question.
is
Let me
my
ask you a
point.
question. I do care
This
about
is my
humanity.
point.
I can show you that you
Yeah,
don't care about potential. Let me show you that you don't care about potential
you're
right now.
proving my point.
Shaw,
Literally.
I do care about humanity. Let me show you that you don't care about potential. Let me show you that you don't care about
You know.
potential. Would you give a 5-year-old whiskey?
No.
They're gonna be 21 one day, right?
asking.
Exactly, because you don't care about potential. You don't actually care about potential. You care about what it is. That's what I'm
Wait,
saying.
hold
Like
on.
you actually
That's
agree. Hold
not
on,
about the
hold on.
potential.
Shaw.
No, 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 no.
Shaw, wait,
Wait,
stop.
let me speak because
Shaw,
you
hold
just
on.
spoke.
I
Let me
understand. I
respond to you.
understand that you just. I understand you just said, but you didn't understand
You
my
don't
argument.
understand. You
I don't
don't
think you understood
understand.
my argument. Did you understand my argument?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna reiterate my argument. I asked you, would you give a 5-year-old whiskey? You said no. I also want to give a 5-year-old whiskey. You know why? Because they're not
Why?
21 yet. They're 5. They have the potential to be 21. They're going to be 21 in about 17 more years. They're going to be
And what would the
21.
outcome
But
be
hold
if
on,
you
for
gave
shot.
them
Let me
to
finish.
me?
They are going to
Go
be
ahead.
21, but they are not 21 right now, which shows that we care about what it is, not the potential. So when you say that these things are living cells and they're going to be humans one day, I'm telling you that I don't care about that. I care about what it is, not what it's going to be. Now, around 21, 22 weeks, that's when the
Still
gestation
makes
period,
no sense.
that's within the gestation period when they actually have conscious experience. You feel me? When they have that type of conscious sentient experience, that's when I start
Wait,
to
wait.
care. Before that, I don't care. Now tell
Okay,
me
so let me ask you
why
a
I
question.
should.
Let me ask you a question. What would the outcome be if you was to give that 5-year-old whiskey? What would the outcome be?
They will get sick
They will get sick. Why?
because their bodies can handle that.
Yeah, their bodies can't handle that because of their age, right?
Correct.
Okay, so once again, you don't care neither when it comes to potential or when they're actually formed in a fullness, or so you don't care about neither of the two, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. Like I've asked you before, I said, would you allow your wife or your girlfriend to make the choice on her getting rid of the living cells? You said, well, I mean, it's her choice or so. It's like, okay, cool, but would you allow her to do that? And you didn't answer that question. So can I get an answer for that?
Bro, there is no allow or not allow. I don't you don't I can't control anybody. What are you talking about?
I'm not saying control. I'm just saying, like, would you
So when you
want her
say
to do that?
allow or no, what I
Wait,
want her
can you
to
answer the
does
question?
what I want her to is a difference between what I allow.
Okay, okay. What you want her to?
Well, I want her to probably not because I want to be a father.
Exactly. So that means you also care about the potential as well. Thank you for proving my point. Oh my god,
No, I
bro.
don't actually
you
don't care. I actually don't care about the
you no,
potential.
hold
No,
on. Watch this.
actually,
Everybody watch this.
no, I
You
actually don't
just
care
no.
about.
You said earlier.
Right,
Let me
right,
finish.
right.
So
It's
you you talk for a long
the
time. So
desire.
you
The
just said
desire is
hold on.
different from.
You talk for a long
Go
time. Let
ahead,
me
go ahead,
finish.
go ahead.
So you said that you don't care about the potential when it comes to living cells. You only care about humanity itself. You only care about
What it
when it's
actually
when
is,
it's in the
correct?
wholeness. It actually is exactly. But yet you just admitted that you wouldn't want your wife or your girlfriend to go through that route on getting rid of the living cells because you want to be a father.
I want to be a
So
father.
that
Yeah.
means you care about the potential. You care about the potential. Thank you
No,
for proving my point.
no, I don't. I don't care. I don't care about the potential.
Yes, you do, bro. You just proved my point.
No, I don't care about those are two different things. You're conflating two different things.
Oh, now it's two different
Yeah,
things.
there are two different
Everybody
things.
heard you say that.
My desire to be a father is not the same thing as cells being as a clump of cells. Those are not the same thing.
Yeah, that's not what you just said just now,
It
man.
is what I just said right
So
now. I desire to be a father, right? I do want to be a father, but that doesn't mean I actually care what
because of what?
happens.
Because
That doesn't mean that if she gets an abortion, I'm gonna be distraught. Doesn't mean that.
you want to be a father because finish it.
I want to be a father because I've always wanted to be a father. Literally,
Because you always wanted to be a father.
I've
That
always wanted to
means
be a
you're gonna
father.
be
I have a. I've always had a good family, so I've always wanted that.
exact, and that means you wouldn't either want your wife or your girlfriend to take the direction on getting rid of the living cells,
No,
correct?
no one wants an abortion, bro. People get it because they need to, or they have no choice. No
No,
one
I'm
wants an
asking
abortion.
you. Like I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
No,
You
I
don't
don't
want
want
your
my wife to have an
girlfriend or
abortion. I don't want that. Of course, I don't want her to get rid of it.
exactly. So that means you care about the potential and what it actually is.
No,
So you're still proving my
no.
point.
I just care about being a father. I don't want her to do it, but I just care about being a
Oh,
father.
okay. No, you're not hearing yourself, bro. This is why you need Jesus, man.
No, I don't need Jesus. Jesus doesn't exist. But oh, actually, he did
He
exist, but
does.
he's dead. But Jesus is dead. But
He rose
what I'm
again.
saying, Jesus is dead.
Wait, he's alive.
Okay, so
He's alive.
what I'm saying, no, he's dead. What I'm saying is that just because I want to be a father doesn't mean that I actually want to restrict abortions. I don't want to do that. I want
But
to
what
be a
does it
father.
mean to
Hold on, stop. I want to be a father, but that doesn't mean that I want to restrict women for doing what they want with their own bodies. Those are not the same thing, You're conflating two different things.
Okay,
You're conflating my desire to do something to for me to want to restrict them. That's not what I want to do.
got you, got you. So, what does it mean to say that your wife has potential living cells in her, and you yourself don't want her to go through the process of getting rid of those living cells because you want to be a father? What does that mean?
It means exactly what you said.
Exactly what I said, right? Okay, so want that logic right there, because earlier you're saying that you don't care about potential living cells because they're not what it is exactly, right? They're not like they you also give an example of asking if these cells can they
I
speak
actually get
or
what you're saying right now. Actually, now I understand what you're saying. When I understand what the confusion is, you're saying that because I want to be a father, I actually do care about the potential of that cells living and growing into being a baby, right? That's what you're trying to say.
yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you're conflating two different things. Yes, I do have a desire to be a father. Now, that's what I'm saying. You're still conflating two different things.
Yeah,
I do have a desire to be a father, but when it comes to the right of abortion, right? Number one, that's not my choice to make, and number two, I don't see the immorality of it because it's not a living human yet. That's why I don't. You're trying to argue like the morality of it, right? I don't see it as immoral because they're not living cells, because they're not human beings yet. So I don't see
okay.
the
Truly,
immorality.
truly, truly, in this circumstance that we're talking about, what is your true desire for this,
True desire for what?
for these living cells, for the living cells?
I
What's
don't
your
have
true
any.
desire?
I don't have any.
But you just admitted that you said you wouldn't want your wife to go through the process on getting rid of the living cells because you want to be a
I want to be a
father.
dad. Yeah.
So what's your desire? So
Desire for
so
what?
you have a desire then. What's your desire?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
If okay, if you don't want your partner to go through the step on getting rid of the
Oh, you're
living
talking about
cells
like a
because you
hypothetical.
want to be a father. Yeah, hypothetical, yeah, because you want to be a father, what is your desires then
Desires for what?
on that? You desire that you want her to keep the living cell so that it could potentially grow into a human form, a human being later
Yeah,
in time.
yeah, it depends on our
Be a father.
situation. Like, it depends on our situation. Like, for example, if we're broke and can't afford it, but if we're broken, we know that we can't give that child a good life.
Well,
Then
no,
yeah,
no, let's no,
probably
no.
best to have an abortion. But if we're okay and we're doing financially well, then I'll be like, I want you to keep it, but it's still gonna be up to you.
Wait, wait. Why would it be best, even if you're broke and you can't afford it, if you two consensually made the decision on, having sexual intercourse and, she got pregnant?
Because
Why
it's
would you
bad
want to see?
because it's bad to bring life into the world that you can't take care of. I don't believe in doing that.
But it's bad to have sexual intercourse knowing that you are not ready to be a father, neither she's ready to be a mother,
No, it's
and
not.
then yet still put the process on,
No, it's not.
unaliving that themselves.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
It's not bad to have
So,
sex.
so two wrongs.
It's not bad to
So
have
because
sex.
of your wrong,
Hold on, Shaw. It's not bad to have
well, I mean,
sex.
yeah, it's not. It's not. Well, according to marriage, it's not. But let's just go with this logic, right? Uh, you guys, since because you guys have your own wrongs in the circumstance right now, since you guys can't deal with the consequence that's going to come afterwards, you decide that it's best to get rid of those living cells.
Yeah, like if a condom or contraceptives don't work, which is what happened to me before, where a contraceptive didn't work, then yeah, like the contraceptive didn't work, and now we're in a situation we're gonna have to go ahead and decide what to do. And if the best case scenario for us is abortion, then that's the best case scenario.
You're telling me in a moment that you won't realize that the condom will break or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not about really the condom. Like, in the moment you can realize a condom breaks, but if you don't use a condom and you use like, hold on, if you don't use a condom and you use like Plan B or what's that, birth control pills, those can fail. Yeah, I mean, and then when we
Why do
realize
you
that
guys?
those fail,
I mean,
those are contraceptives, right? But if we realize that those failed, and we can either get an abortion or go through with it, and we look at our situation and be like, this is not the best situation we can be in right now, then abortion might be the best choice
again, according to that statement you just brought up, why are you not using a condom in the first place, knowing that there could be consequences behind it?
because we have birth control and Plan B. Those are still
What
contraceptives.
if the birth control doesn't work? What a
Yeah,
birth control don't work? What a Plan B don't work?
yeah. Birth control don't work. Plan B doesn't work, and condoms fail. That happens all the time.
And then what after? What's gonna happen next?
Afterwards, we gotta decide what to do. This is really simple.
And what's gonna be this decision? Are you gonna keep it or are you not gonna keep it?
It's gonna depend on our situation.
Well, you brought it up earlier. You said if we are broke and we can't afford it, then it's best to get rid of the living cells so that we won't put them into this world. That's what you said.
Exactly what I
So
said.
that's
Yeah,
where you're gonna
because
go.
it depends on our situation. Yeah, if we're broken, downtrodden, or destitute, then yeah, it's probably best that we don't keep it. But if we're doing fine, let's go ahead and keep it.
So yeah, if okay, so according to that, if you're broke and you can't afford it because of you guys' wrongs, you decide it's okay to make another wrong and unalive living cells that you can potentially have in your life, and
I
have a
don't view
family.
as I don't view unaliving living cells as wrong. That's what I'm saying. I don't view that as wrong. I view unaliving
But
humans as wrong
not just that
and
though.
sentient
Not just
creatures.
that though.
Hold on.
No, no, not just that though.
Let me just get this out. I don't agree that unaliving living cells is wrong in of itself. I don't believe that is wrong in of itself, right? Because I believe that unaliving human beings and probably other sentient creatures that feel pain can be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what the reason is. You see what I'm saying? Like just for fun, then yeah, I'm not gonna torture a cow for fun. But like if we're gonna go ahead and make food out of them, then I could see that, right? But like or I don't want to go to my neighbor's backyard, grab one of his chickens and just choke it for fun. I'm not gonna do that, right? But I know that chicken's gonna be unalive for food one day, right? So this is what I'm talking about. Like I don't believe in unaliving things just for the hell of it, just for fun, right? But like when it
Okay.
comes to like cells that are a clump of cells, no, I'm not gonna give that much value. I give it value when it has sentient experience.
Okay, so because of your actions, since you were the one in the process on creating these living cells, you and your partner, since you guys both did that, you still decided it's okay to get rid of it, even though you guys created
Yeah, sure.
it. Come on, man.
And I don't view that
How is
as
that
wrong.
not wrong?
I don't view that as wrong.
That's crazy. This is why I say again, you need Jesus Christ, bro.
Jesus is
Amen.
dead.
He's alive. He rose again from the third day.
Can you prove it?
Proven, historical,
Can you prove it?
proven by scholars,
It
proven
was not
by
proven by scholars.
it is. They
Which
affirm this in
scholar?
the New Testament. I mean, you have Bart Ehrman.
Bar Arman
He's
did not
atheist.
confirm
He
that he.
affirmed.
Bar Arman did not confirm that he rose from the dead. He confirmed that he lived. He didn't confirm that he rose from the dead.
Well, yeah, he confirmed that he lived, but he also confirmed that he was crucified and that the
Yes.
crucifixion was actually horrible.
Yeah, I believe that the crucifixion was real because Romans used to torture blasphemers all the time. Romans used to torture rabble rousers all the time because Jesus was a rabble rouser. He was against the Roman Empire, right? So yeah, sure, that happened. That doesn't mean that he rose to dead. That doesn't mean that he had superpowers.
What do you mean he was against the Roman Empire?
Jesus, the reason why Jesus was executed by the Romans and by the Jews is because the Jews believed that he was a blasphemer, and the Romans believed that he was a rabble rouser. He was a person that was going to incite rebellion against the empire. Romans didn't like that because Jesus was calling himself a king. So if he's calling himself a king and there's a king in Rome, that means that you're trying to rebel against the empire, and that's why the Romans executed him. And not only that, the Jews were saying that that Jesus is claiming to be God, and that's blasphemy according to the Jews, and according to them, that deserved the death penalty as well. So that's why the Romans and the Pharisees sucked out to execute Jesus. None of this means that he actually had superpowers.
And then, okay, we're not saying he has superpowers. It's literally the power of God. So when
Yeah,
the Jews
superpowers. That
seen,
doesn't mean that's real. Like if the
okay, so
entire
when the
we know I don't need a sermon. I grew up under a pastor. I know the entire story of Jesus. It's all good and well, but he's dead.
you don't,
None of
you don't.
yes I do. Give me a piece of evidence that he actually rose from the dead. Go ahead.
Okay, so our earliest manuscripts, again, it confirms that you have the Gospels. They align with each other. You even have
The Gospels don't align with
Paul.
each other.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Literally say,
Paul never met
okay, the
Jesus.
Codex Sinaiticus. Yes, he did. Acts chapter 9.
Paul never met Jesus. Paul met James, the
Acts
brother
chapter
of
9.
Jesus. Paul met James, the brother of Jesus, and the road to Damascus experience is the vision he had. He didn't meet Jesus in the flesh.
Do I gotta pull up the scripture?
Paul never met Jesus in the flesh, bro. He had a he had a he
But
had
my
a
fault.
he had a
I know the
vision.
live is not about. I know the live is not about.
Hold on,
About
Shaw. Are you really gonna sit here and say that Paul met Jesus in real life?
Yes,
Do
he
you
did
not know
miracles
the
by the
road to
power.
Damascus experience?
He did. He literally did miracles by the power of Jesus. He
Who?
literally did that. Paul.
Paul never met Jesus, dude.
Yes, he did.
Paul
In
had a
Acts chapter 9.
Paul had Acts chapter 9 is about Paul having a vision of Jesus. Paul met James, the brother of Jesus. He didn't meet Jesus himself.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro.
Paul
It was a
met James.
revelation.
Paul met James, the brother of Jesus. He did not meet Jesus himself. He had a vision of Jesus in the sky. He never met Jesus himself.
Yes, he did, bro. I'm about to pull it up. I'm about to pull it
All
up.
right, I'm pulling it up right now. If I pull it up right now, what you gonna say?
I mean, I have it right here. So
You have it right there. Read it. Read where it says Paul actually met Jesus.
I got you. And Paul's actually referred as a different name around this time as well. Saul is one of his few names that he had. So we have here, right? We'll start at verse 3. So it says, now as he went on his way, he approached Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven shone around him.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. He didn't meet Jesus in the flesh. He met him in the sky. He had the road to Damascus experience. Hold on, wait. A light shone in the. Hold on. Listen. A light shone in the sky, and Jesus said, "Why are you persecuting me?" Right?
Yep.
He didn't meet him in the flesh. He met him in a vision. That's what I'm saying. I said this over. Hold on, wait. Hold on. Listen, Shaw. I've already said this multiple times. Paul never met Jesus in the flesh. He met him in a vision. He had a vision of Jesus. He didn't meet him.
So you're admitting that he still met him, correct?
No, he didn't meet him. That's a fake story. That never happened.
So wait, okay. So what about Moses then? When he met the Lord, he had an encounter with God.
That shit never happened. I don't believe that happened. Okay, prove it.
Jacob met God.
Prove it.
Jacob met God.
Prove it.
Abraham met God.
Prove it.
Yeah, Genesis chapter 33.
Can you prove it? Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. Shaw, listen. Hold on, Shaw, listen for a second. I understand that the Bible says these things. I get that the Bible said it, right? I understand that the Bible says these things. That doesn't make it true, Shaw. Just because it says so in the Bible doesn't make it true.
Okay, so who's doing the miracles according to the chapter?
No one.
What do you mean, no one?
Wait, hold on. Wait. Who was doing? Wait, listen. I'm gonna tell this. I'm gonna say this. Shaw. Wait, Shaw. Listen. I'm gonna say this one more time. Shaw, I'm gonna say this one more time. Just because it's in the Bible does not make it true. You understand that, right?
Okay, so give me evidence that Paul never met Jesus. Give me your historical evidence. Give me
What you just read showed that he didn't meet Jesus. He had a vision. Hold on, wait. He had a vision, right or wrong?
Not just a vision, he had an encounter with Jesus. Look.
That's a vision.
Who are you, Lord? Who are you? And then he encountered him. Like, oh my God, bro.
Do you really not understand how this language works, bro? Do you not understand how that works? When they're talking about an encounter, they don't mean that they're actually physically meeting the person. You understand that, right? I'm having an encounter with you right now. Hold on. Listen, Shaw, listen for a second. I'm having an encounter with you right now. Am I meeting you in the flesh?
I mean, we're talking to each other, right?
But did I meet you in the flesh? Can I see you?
Yeah, we didn't see each other in real life, but
exactly. We don't see each other in real life, right? Exactly. So hold on. Let me give you another example. Let me give you another example. I will answer your question when you answer another one of my questions, because we got to critically think about this. The other night I had a dream of a pink dragon. I had an encounter with a pink dragon in my dream, right or wrong?
A dream and a vision is two different things, bro.
That doesn't answer my question.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Paul didn't have a dream right here. He had a vision. So
he had a vision. So I've said from the beginning that Paul never actually met Jesus in the flesh. He had a vision. I've said this dozens of times, and you said I was cap. Now you're admitting that it was true when you bring up the verse itself.
Was he speaking to Jesus? Yes or no?
No one knows because it's just a story. We can't show that to be true.
Okay, so just like the analogous that you brought up, if you asked me if you met me in the flesh, I said no, and I asked you, I said, are we speaking to each other though? Can you answer the question?
Yeah, of course we're speaking to each other.
Okay, so we're speaking to each other. Thank you. So we don't have to meet each other in the flesh in order to communicate with each other. Same thing right here when it comes to Paul. Paul had a vision. He had an encounter with Jesus,
And
and he was
I'm
speaking to Jesus.
and I'm going to tell you for
Doesn't
the
have to
third.
be
I'm gonna
physical.
tell and I'm gonna say for the upteenth time. Just because the Bible says something does not make it true.
Oh my God, bro.
Right or
All right.
wrong?
So what about
Right
Daniel?
or wrong?
What
Just
about
because the
Daniel?
hold on, hold on. Am I right or
He had an
wrong?
encounter with
Hold on. Am I right or wrong?
Gabriel.
Just hold on. Am I right or wrong? Just because the Bible says something doesn't make it true.
You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
You're wrong. This is historical facts.
Oh, okay. So it's a historical fact that Paul met Jesus and that Paul actually met Jesus supernaturally. That's a historical fact. You sure?
Uh, by the power of the Lord, yeah.
Give me the artifacts that show that, please.
Oh my God, bro. How much evidence do you want, bro? Like, I
The
literally,
only
like, I'm
evidence,
giving
the
you all
only
the facts
so-called
right here.
evidence you brought up was the Bible. But again, just because the Bible says something doesn't make it true.
The Bible, the Bible has multiple collections of books that sources within itself
It doesn't
that
make it
prove there's
true.
evidence that proves
It doesn't make it true. Just because the
it
Bible says
does.
something
Okay,
doesn't
let me
make it
ask you. Let
true.
me ask you. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Okay, I got you. Do you believe that Daniel actually had an encounter with Angel Gabriel?
No,
Why not?
because if I believe that, I might as well believe that Zeus interfered in the Battle of Troy. It's just a story. There's no reason to believe that.
Zeus is a mythology god. He's a myth. He's a
I know that Zeus is a
mythology
myth.
god,
What
bro.
you
He's not real.
hold on. Listen, I know that Zeus is a myth, but what I'm telling you is that just because a story says something doesn't make it true. I just keep telling you that. Just because there's a
And not
story
only
here,
that,
hold on, listen. Just because there's a story in a book that a lot of people believe does not make it true. Because the Bible says some things that are clearly not true.
okay, what else does it say that is not true? Because
Noah's Ark
clearly
isn't true.
you just want like the
Noah's
whole.
Ark, Noah's Ark isn't true.
Okay,
Rabbits don't chew cud. There's a talking
okay.
donkey in Numbers. There's a talking snake in the beginning of the book. None of these things are true.
That talking snake is the devil. He actually referenced Genesis. You want me to show you?
How do you know the devil actually exists?
Because God created him.
How do you know
Okay.
God exists?
I mean, if you want to talk outside of the Bible, logically something can't come from nothing, and we know that all those qualities equates to God when it
That
comes
doesn't
to
make
His
a God
grace
exist just
by His
because
power.
that doesn't make a God exist just because
Does
existence
it?
is here. Hold on, just because
Well, how do you know
hold on,
it
just
doesn't
because
exist?
hold on, everybody be quiet, everybody be quiet. Just because we have existence does not make a God exist.
Okay, so do you believe that nothingness can produce something?
No, I never said that.
Okay, so what do you believe then if there's no God? How do you think the universe began to be?
I don't know.
So you don't know, but you're saying that there's no God.
I didn't say there's no God. I said there's no reason to believe one because there's no evidence of it.
It's the same thing.
Hold
Literally
on.
the same
Hold.
thing. If you
No, it's
don't
not. No,
know,
it's not. No,
what
it's
do you-
not. Tiger,
why?
Tiger, be quiet for a second.
Basically saying
Tiger,
that
be
there's no
quiet.
God.
All right. So Shaw, I didn't say there was no God. I said there's no reason for me to believe in one.
Okay. Would you say there is a God potentially?
No. I'm not gonna
Oh,
say
so
some.
you're saying
I'm
that
not gonna
there's no
say. I'm not
God?
gonna say something. I'm not gonna say
Like,
something.
oh my
I'm
God,
not gonna
bro.
say something. I'm not gonna say something exists or I have no proof of it. Why would I do that?
All right. So you don't know the answer on how the universe began to be. You're
Nope.
saying that you have no reason to believe that there is a God,
Nope.
right? And I asked you, I said, do you potentially believe that there could be a God? You said no. So which one is it? Like you're not giving me a conclusion on this.
Okay, dear, the universe. I'm not sure how it's. I'm not sure where the singularity came from, right, or how the singularity came to be. But as far as we know, our current position of the universe expanded from a hot dense state. It's called the Big Bang, right? That's the evidence that we have currently. When it comes to God or gods, I'm not sure if God or gods exist. I don't think that they do. There's no evidence of them. But if one does exist, sure, all God do is show himself, and that'll be it, right? That'll be end the conversation. But as long as one doesn't show themselves and there's no evidence of one being true, then there's no reason for me to believe it. Holy
He
books
already
are
showed
not. Oh,
himself.
Saiga, hold on. Holy books are not a reason
Well,
for
you're
me
saying
to.
stuff that's not
Tiger,
true,
wait.
man.
Tiger, wait. It's not your turn. It's Sean's turn. So Shaw, holy books are not a reason for me to believe anything. Because if I believe in your holy book, I might as well believe in all the other holy books. I might as well agree with my grandmother. My grandmother was a Haitian voodoo practitioner, and she had experiences with her gods. Should I be a Haitian voodoo practitioner?
What other holy books is there besides the Bible?
The Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, the Book of
Quran is
Mormon.
not a holy book.
The Quran
Book
is a
of
holy
Mormon
book.
is not a holy
Is a
book.
holy book of the Muslims. The
The
Bhagavad Gita,
Quran literally.
The Bhagavad Gita is a holy book of the Hindus. Shintos
So
also have
again,
a
the
text.
Quran.
The Taoists also have a text. Confucianists also have a text. There's holy books in a whole bunch of religions, bro.
Okay, so you realize that Muslims believe that the
It doesn't matter what
Egyptians
Muslims
are the holy
believe.
book, right?
It doesn't matter what Muslims believe.
It
The
does
point.
matter.
No, it doesn't. Because the point is, none of them have ever shown themselves to be true. Simply saying this book says so doesn't make it true. It simply doesn't.
I agree when it comes to other religions. I agree.
Okay,
Christianity though,
no,
no,
Christianity is the same
because we
way.
have Jesus.
Christianity is the same way because there are things in the Bible that are clearly not true.
Oh my God, bro.
You want me to show you one?
Basically, what I'm wrapping up. Yeah. Hold on. Based on what I'm wrapping up, based on what you're saying, is that because you haven't seen these things physically for yourself, you say that's not true. Is that
That's
right?
not what I'm saying. That I didn't say that at all.
I mean, that's what you're implying, though.
No, that's not what I implied. That's not what I implied. I said that the Bible
Okay, all
says
right,
things. I said that the Bible says things that are not true, and I can show you one.
all right. What's one?
Leviticus 11:5 verse
Maybe,
6.
maybe.
Leviticus 11:5 verse 6. The rock badger, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divine hooves, it is unclean for you. The hare, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hooves, it is unclean for you. This is I think either God or one of the prophets talking to the Israelites. And it says that rabbits chew cud and that rock badgers chew cud. Neither of those animals chew cud. So that's clearly
All right.
something wrong, right?
Can you realize that it could be referring
That's
to
clearly something wrong,
different?
correct?
So it could be referring to a different type, just like how
Hairs,
the Bible
no,
describes
there are
how
no hairs
Jesus.
no hairs chew cud. Hold on, Shaw. I'm gonna say this one last time. No hairs
talk.
chew cud.
You just talk.
Rock
I was
badgers
trying
do not. Hold on. I just asked
was
you.
trying to finish what I was saying.
Asked you. Are those things incorrect? You said they could talk about something else. There are no hairs
Yeah,
and
I'm
no
saying.
rock bad. Hold on, listen.
Yeah, I'm.
There are no hairs that chew cud. None. So this is wrong, and it's in the Bible.
This dude is not okay, bro. This dude is
So
not
things
okay.
can in the
All right,
Bible
so
can
once
be
again,
wrong,
like I
correct?
said, it could be referring to. It could be referring to. Can I speak, please? I appreciate it. It could be referring to different types of rabbits, not
It's not.
necessarily like what
It's
the
not.
ones you're thinking
There are
about.
no rabbits that chew
And
cud.
I'm saying
None.
that because we also have
Shaw.
other.
There are no rabbits that chew cud. None.
I'm
So this is not talking about a different type of
I'm
rabbit.
not getting muted. What's going on?
You're getting muted because you keep
Going on?
repeating the same thing that I already debunked. Rabbits
I'm
do
trying
not
to get
chew
to what I'm
cud.
actually trying to say. You
Hold
keep
on.
interrupting.
Rabbits do not chew
Oh
cud.
my God.
Rabbits do not chew. Shaw. Rabbits do not chew cud. So the Bible says something wrong. Yes or no?
Bro, oh my God, bro. I'm trying to give you the detailed explanation on this, but you're not allowing me.
Okay, hold on. Shaw. The first thing you said is that it could be talking about a different type of rabbit. I'm telling you, there are no rabbits that chew cud. None. So this is wrong. Period. The Bible says something wrong.
Okay, so
You can't get around it.
you have any source that says that?
Yeah, it's called biology. Would you like to read a contradiction?
Biology. What? Let me look it up.
Just Google do rabbits chew cud.
I just wanted to come up and while he's looking that up, I just wanted to say he's saying
So it says right
he's saying
here.
something can't come from nothing. Where the hell did God come from, that man?
Wait, hold on. Let me respond to what he said.
Now, as
So
a
I
matter of
can
fact,
read
we're
it. He said
far off
no.
the conversation.
Rabbits do not chew. It said rabbits do not chew their cud, in the way that cows or sheeps do. So notice how it says in the way that cows or sheep do. It's making a
Okay.
distinction between
Words don't
cows
mean words now.
and sheep
Would you like to me would you like to read a contradiction?
and sheep. Words don't mean words. I got it right here. Look, look.
Yeah,
It says no. Rabbits do not chew their cud
cud.
in the way that cows or sheep do. So that means that they do, not in the way that cows or sheep do.
No, that means that they don't.
It's given a distinction between rabbits, cows, and sheeps. Why you over here lying, bro?
Okay, it clearly says here that rabbits.
Oh my
It's,
God.
I'm looking. Hold on, I'm looking at the same thing you're saying. Hold on, Shaw. I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at. It says rabbits do not chew cud in the same way cows and sheep do. Rabbits practice coptherapy, which involves re-ingesting their soft fecal pellets to extract more nutrients. That is not chewing cud. That's not chewing cud, my friend.
It says this process is sometimes described as chewing the cud.
But
It
it's
literally
this.
says that.
But
right
it is
there, white
distinct.
line again.
But it is
It says this
distinct.
process
But
is
it is
sometimes
distinct.
described
But
as
it is
chewing the cud.
distinct. But it is distinct from the ruminant form of digestion. The ruminant form of digestion is what
Okay,
chewing cud is.
don't disregard this though.
Hold on.
Don't
Is
disregard this
the
though.
re
It literally says
it yeah, I'm not hold on, I'm not disregarding it.
chewing the
I'm not disregarding it. I'm not disregarding it.
You are
Is this
disregarding it.
hold on. I'm not disregarding
Okay,
it.
so what does it
Is
say
this
right
hold
here?
on, listen, bro. Hold on, listen. Let me finish. It's described it's described that way, but it is not that. That's what this is saying.
Okay.
How do you know?
You need hold on. We
I don't know.
do we need a lesson on reading comprehension? It clearly says this process is sometimes described as showing the cud, but it is distinct, which means that it's not the same thing. It clearly says it's not the same thing.
Ass nigger, you stupid nigger, you bald nigger.
Oh my God, get this
Whoa,
kid.
that's crazy.
Yeah, here we go. All right, bro. We're over 20 minutes and we're way over the conversation that we were supposed to have. So I got to go ahead and drop you and move on. All right.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Have a good day. All right. Tyga, it is finally your turn. Are you over 18 and do you disagree with anything I have on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18, and I disagree with almost everything you have.
Cool.
But the thing that I mostly
No, I'm not talking about
the thing
God.
that I mostly
I'm not talking about
disagree
God
with
this month.
Demilitarizing the police.
Okay, gotcha. All right,
I
my
think
bad.
that's just a complete asinine.
Am I frozen?
So I
Can you guys hear me?
completely disagree with that. Yeah, you're a little.
We can
frozen.
hear you, but you're frozen. We can.
I'm
hear you,
I'm
though.
frozen. All right,
Your
give me a
audio
second,
is
guys. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. Give me a second, cause I'm frozen. Give me a second. Just give me 1 second, guys.
Yeah, usually if you get out and come back in, you should be good.
Yeah. I think that's what happened.
There, you're good now.
All right, cool. All right, so you said demilitarizing police is not a smart thing to do, correct?
Yeah, I think it's a horrible idea.
Why?
Kind of freezing a little bit. The number one reason is because there's no other option. I think there's just bad people out there,
Mhm.
and they need to get cracked on the ass when they're doing something. You can't go over there and ask somebody nicely with no, bang bang in their on their holster and be nice. Obviously, there's a time to be nice to people and empathetic and mental health and blah blah blah. But there's just some sick people out there. So rolling up and trying to negotiate with somebody that's got a pew pew to somebody's head, or doing something to some innocent woman, or what's the alternative? You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I could. I hear everything you're saying, right? Like, when it comes to very, very violent people, there might not be any other choice but to be violent against them. But the majority of police interactions are, number one, nonviolent, and they're called over for nonviolent things, and they become violent towards them, right? So when it comes to militarization of police, especially when it comes to my community, a lot of those police are just militarized and abusive. They're not handling the quote unquote bad people, right? They're just going around harassing folks for no reason. We saw this in Atlanta. We see this in Memphis. We see this in Baltimore. So like militarizing the police, it doesn't do anything towards a population that is not an enemy. It just makes them view everybody as a danger, which is not always the case.
So you just said that when somebody calls the police for a service call, I agree. The majority of them are for nonviolent things. Then why would it get violent while they're on a nonviolent call? I don't understand what you're trying to say.
because
Like if my kitten ran, I don't understand.
because the police themselves just tend to be violent.
Well, I don't think that they tend to be violent. I mean, they tend to be normal unless you start screwing with them or doing things to make them violent. If I said, "Hey, I lost my kitten. He's in the tree," I don't think they're going to come over there, with ready to kick some ass. I don't think that's really how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works
They
several.
might be ready to kick some ass, but
Right. I understand
go
that
ahead.
you don't think that that's how it works because that's just not how it's been in your community. In my community, that's exactly how it's been. That's the reason why we don't call them a
Well,
lot
I
because
understand
they
that,
just
but
come around and be violent to people.
well, I get it. I mean, in the black community, there might be that fear that's going to get violent. But again, if you're saying, okay, instead of the police coming, because your kitten's in the tree, we should send somebody else. Okay, I understand. That's great. I agree with you. But usually, when you call the police, it's for an issue, whether it's a theft, a physical punching, or you know some violence going on in the house. Usually, when you call the police, it's for something that they got to be prepared for. I mean, give me an example of when you would call the authorities for something that they don't need. They don't need to be ready to kick some ass in the black community, I guess, or
Uh,
in your community.
car accident.
Okay, great. Totally agree. So in a lot of the big cities, they have traffic aids. The police don't even show up to a lot of those incidents now. In Florida, in the big cities, they have things called traffic aids. Someone comes in with no pew pew on their side hold. They're just government employees that do the traffic report. I agree with that. Sounds good. What else?
Yeah, I live in I live in Florida and police still tend to come out for some reason. But like what else? Wellness checks. They don't need to be out here. Fights in school. I think the teachers and the counselors should be handling that, or especially the parents. There's something called Dads on
Have you
Duty in
seen some of those
Louisiana.
kids?
I've seen some of the kids. Yeah, I'm saying, but like when you get their parents involved, those big kids become church mouse. You know what I mean? So like that's just the way it operates in our community. I don't know about anybody else, but that you'll get like 6'3" black kids who would become a church mouse around their mama. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it is. Like parents should be involved. Counselors, teachers should be involved. Like teachers are a lot more effective than we tend to think and give credit for. You see what I'm saying? But like a lot of these things, like police are not needed,
Sometimes you're
especially
fighting them.
even like homeless people. Police are not needed to call homeless people away. We don't need police for that.
Oh,
And
well,
people call the police all the time for civil infractions where the cops are like, well, we can't, like, this is a civil issue, it's not a criminal matter.
yeah, if someone's squatting in your house, I understand with homeless, but I have to disagree. If there's a 6'3" black kid that's on the football team and he could kick somebody's ass, his mom might be at work. She might not be available. What are you gonna do? Wait for her to get there? She's got shit to do.
No, it's not. It's
You know what I
not.
mean?
It's
Like,
It's
not
not
about
all about. It's
it's
not
not
all about.
about the
Hold on, everybody,
6'3".
everybody, wait. It's not really
Hi,
just
how
about.
you guys doing, by the
Hey,
way?
yeah, how you doing? Give me a second. It's not really just about the mom or that one example, right? It just shows that there are things that happen within the community that the police don't need to be there, and many times when they are around, they're just there to harass us. They're not doing anything.
well, harass is a strong word. I agree that there are some situations where you might not need the police, but harass. Here, let me say this. Harass is
Listen,
a strong word.
the kids that start the trouble are the ones that are scared. Okay, it's not the 6'3" black kid. It's the kid that has no friends, or that is very shy,
Can
that
everybody give me a
doesn't
second?
know how to
Can everybody give
interact
me a
with other
second? Give me a
people,
second, y'all.
that doesn't have a family life.
Give me a second, y'all.
There's a lot of lagging.
I don't want you guys just to create a narrative right now because this is becoming a bit toxic.
What do you mean by that, Aaron?
All right, guys. I'll apologize for that.
Something's froze up on the screen.
Yeah, I'm frozen up. Give me a second. Yeah, I was frozen up. Sorry about that.
No, I
still-
don't
you're
want
still
you guys
frozen up.
creating a
Still
narrative
frozen.
of this single mom, big black kid that is causing trouble. That is not the case. Okay? The
Well,
ones
I'm
that are
not saying it's the
causing
case.
trouble.
What I'm saying is that there has to be somebody on guard, on duty to kick some ass. If you don't have that, I think it could just be a disaster. All I'm
Yeah,
saying.
have a home life. Have like
Some people don't have
need,
that.
kids need structure.
I don't
And
think the
most
host
kids
is
don't
saying
have
to
that.
abolish police. He's saying to militarize it. Like, there's a difference.
Yeah, there's a
Well,
very
But
big
no,
difference.
but you can't just say, "Oh, this is a specific type of kid." That is very, very dangerous for you to say
How is that dangerous?
because you are creating a narrative that is putting a whole, you know, category of children into a stereotype.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that if somebody's a big guy, there has to be somebody able to put him in cuffs. I don't. If a 6'3" big guy starts swinging on a classmate, I don't think the 70-year-old.
But they are not doing that. Those are the kids that are actually protecting the younger ones.
Aaron, I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to say. I'm
Okay, what are you
saying
trying to say?
I'm saying
Talk
that
to me like I'm stupid.
I'm saying that on a high school campus, there has to be somebody able to restrain somebody who is bigger than everybody else physically. And a lot of the
I get that.
that's what I'm saying. And it just so happens that there's 17, 18-year-old kids on that campus that, a 70-year-old grandma English teacher is not going to be able to control if they get out of line.
Okay, I understand that, but I don't know what kind of neighborhood or what kind of city you live in, but where I live, those kids actually help those 70-year-old grandmas.
I'm sure they do. I'm not this.
But I don't think you're understanding his point. What he's saying, Aaron, is that if you're in a school and you have kids that are abnormally large, you would need a physical presence or a cop that is able to physically apprehend such a person should they become disruptive, which is fair. That's a fair
absolutely,
statement.
yeah, absolutely. That's why you have certain teachers. That's why you have the security
Oh,
there.
not teachers.
That's
You
not
have,
enough.
You have security. Every school at this point has security.
All right, guys.
Right.
I'm back. I had something going on with my thing. All right, here's what I say. Right, I understand. Hold on, everybody pause. I understand that there needs to be like some sort of guardianship there for people who become violent or people who are larger, et cetera, et cetera. You need someone who's ready to in order to be there. However, that doesn't require militarization of our police force because the police are supposed to be peacekeepers. If there's someone around that's being violent and throwing things around, right, we need to look at other reasons why they're doing those things because there could be other reasons. Hold on, wait, hold on, listen. People are
see,
not.
that's
Hold on, wait, hold on. Let me finish. People are not naturally just violent. All right. There are some people who are born like psychotic, right? No one understands. Hold on, everybody, pause real quick. All right, I'm talking to 1% at a time. I understand that there are people out there who are just flat out psychotic, right? That just go out and mess around and do whatever they want, who are basically jokers. They want to see the world burn. I understand that sometimes that does happen that is a case with some people. The majority of people are not like that. The majority of people are not naturally violent, right? So, but violence will happen in a society. That's just what we have to deal with, and we do have to deal with handling the type of violence in the society. So yeah, I get there's gonna be a reason for policing to happen, but militarization of police, meaning that the police are actually, what you're doing is you're making the police an occupying force within certain communities, and that becomes a problem, especially in communities like mine when they were always simply an occupying force and we were the enemy. That's what I mean by demilitarizing the police. Don't make them an occupying force viewing the people that they're supposed to be serving as the enemy, because that's exactly what's happening.
Well, what should they be then?
No,
They
I'm
should be
actually very
peacekeepers.
sorry that
They should
I'm
be
actually
peacekeepers,
sorry
not
that it's
but
they
happening.
should be
that's I
hold on,
They
hold
got
on,
levels to that.
okay, hold on, everybody,
Audio.
everybody, hold on. This is how I run my lives, all right? It's one at a time. No one needs to jump in. There's a queue going on. I'm gonna get to each of you, and each of y'all will go ahead and be able to get off when I finish talking to the next person. All right. So when it comes to, I'm sorry, what was your name? Tyga. Let me back up. Let me back up our clock a little bit because we didn't have a lot of time to talk. But yeah, Tyga, this is exactly what I mean. What they should be in the community are peacekeepers, not a military occupying force. Those are two different things.
I understand, but Volsi, if people don't want to play by the rules in society, if they're fighting and doing bad shit, the police are welcome. Don't If someone did something bad to you, don't you want that person to get knocked upside the head and put in the cuffs and in the jail? Again, this isn't. I'm not saying what used to go on in the police and they look the other way when someone's burning your house down because they don't like that you're black. I'm talking in modern times now, when you remove the police and that fear, like, oh shit, I better do the right thing or I'm going to jail. It makes people go crazy. Can you imagine right
Mhm.
now in your neighborhood if there was no police? I mean, come on. I mean,
It'll be fine. There's barely any
I
police
think
around right
I
now.
think I think that's absolutely ridiculous for you to say that.
There's barely any police around right now. You know why? Because like I said before, this myth about human nature of that we're just an unorganized panicky mess is BS, because we were able to build societies, right? So obviously it's naturally within us to try to get along with everybody, right? That's naturally
Maybe
a thing
couple
with
hundred
us.
years ago.
Not just a couple of hundred years ago. A couple of hundred years ago was worse. You know what I'm saying? A couple of hundred years ago, I was killed for looking at a white woman. So like a couple
Well,
hundred
yeah,
years
that's
ago, was it the
different.
same? Yeah, no, it's not the same because we've gotten better. You see what I'm saying? So like at the end of the day, most people are not out here trying to be reckless. Most folks want to get along with everybody else. So it's not a thing where in our society where if police are not involved, the police are not around, everyone's just gonna go nuts and go crazy and burn people's houses down. People don't operate that way. The purge is not real. All right. If the purge actually happened in society, most folks will just be robbing crypto wallets. They won't be out murdering homeless people because most people don't want to be that way. You see what I'm saying? So like when I say that if the police were not around in the community that I live right now, you barely see police and things are still running smoothly. You know what I'm saying? Because people naturally want to get along. They don't actually want to hurt each other. So it's like the police should be around for peacekeeping. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be an entirely different version of police that we see today. But as far as this country goes, police will start by slave catching. And they haven't changed that ever since then. They still just slave catch in order to build more profit.
Who's a slave nowadays?
Prisoners.
Okay, that could be true, but they did something to go there.
I don't care. Slavery's wrong.
Well, again, that's so you don't like when they have to work inside the prison. That's a fair argument. That's fine. I mean, you don't have to like it. I don't really like it. They should probably be getting paid something, but I just feel like you're kind of missing my point. I understand that you want to have a lot of hope for society, but in these big cities, man, when all this shit goes down, in my city, I just had four kids from 18 to 25 gone over the weekend. The violence and shit. I mean, don't you want? I mean, I couldn't imagine not finding their who did that to them and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know. We have a different view on it. I guess maybe it's a race thing. I don't know.
I mean, I grew up in like my parents are from Haiti, right? And when they first got to this country, they used to live in a community called Little Haiti, which is the projects in Miami. And then when I got a little bit older, we moved to North Miami, and there was a whole gang war between the east side and the west side over there. So it's like I get it. I understand like the need for it. I understand the need for I understand that as far as the society that we have now, there's gonna always be a need for policing. What I'm trying to get through, what I'm trying to say though, is that what we need to be focused on is the things that cause those things. You see what I'm saying? Because the majority of people are not born wanting to be a gang member or wanting to rob people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these crimes that we see are poverty crimes, even the violent ones. You know what I'm saying? So like if we go ahead and do things to alleviate poverty, then police will just be around to keep up order and keep the peace. They won't have to be around, being a military force.
Let me push you back on this real quick. I think I understand that, but look at Cuba. Those people are poorer than dirt, and it's one of the safest countries in the Caribbean. It's a culture thing. They don't do that shit there. It's a culture thing, and maybe it's because the crime rates in Cuba are like non-existent. They just don't do it.
Right, and one of the reasons. Right, and in Cuba, you know what they have in Cuba? They have universal education, they have guaranteed housing, they have workplace democracy, and they don't have a war on drugs.
Are you really advocating for quality of life in Cuba?
Please
tell me you're not.
The reason why Cuba has a quality of life that it has now is because of the embargo. It's because of economic reasons. It's not because of their social programs. Their social programs are not the reason why they have those problems.
That can be debatable, but their life still sucks, whether it's America's fault or the government's fault. It still sucks. It's a culture thing. They don't do that shit there.
I don't think it's really debatable because we see the same things in Scandinavia, right? Scandinavia has much of the same things that Cuba has.
Okay,
the only difference is that Cuba was embargoed.
Fault. Okay, it's America's fault. It doesn't change the life that their life is still awful, and they don't steal. They don't have a murder rate over there. It doesn't exist.
Right. It doesn't.
I think it's a culture thing.
Right. But they
have lots of black people too. It's not a race or it's just what they do.
The reason why I say it's not simply a culture thing is because there are people who have like for example, Cuba has all these social programs, right? And you said that they culturally, or basically in their living standards, they're not out committing crimes or anything like that. It's the same thing you'll see in places like Scandinavia, right? So it's not really a culture thing because the Scandinavian countries and Cuba don't have the same culture, right? Cuba's culture is more closely to like the Dominican Republic or Haiti or Colombia. Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Colombia do have high crime rates, but they don't have the social programs that Cuba has. So there's a difference there, right?
Programs here?
We have social programs here, but they're not as robust as what you'll see over in Scandinavia or Cuba.
On. We got EBT, Section 8, Medicaid. We got everything. Free school. You can go to private school here.
What do you need to get on Medicaid?
You literally just have to be poor. You can't make more than 125% of the poverty rate.
That's not how it works in Florida.
Well, I thought it was a nationwide thing.
Nope. That's and that's the issue with our social safety nets. We thinking that it's standard and uniform nationwide, and it's not. In Florida, if you're not pregnant, if you're not disabled, if you're not over 65, you do not get Medicaid, even if you're dirt poor and homeless on the street.
But what do you get then?
Nothing. And it's like that. It's like that in multiple states.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It depends on what state that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like our welfare system is not as good as we tend to think, especially when it comes to Section 8. Folks think that in Section 8 you just sign up for it and that's it. It's a lottery. There are people who are on Section 8 right now who applied for it 10 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So it's like our welfare system is not as good as people think it is.
The government, Volsty, it's like if you take what the government offers you, they don't let you make it big off of it. The second you start making a dollar amount more than they allow you to, they take it from you. So it's meant to keep you poor. If you're on Section 8 and you start making 35, 40 grand a year, they'll fucking take it from you.
No,
if you start making $5 grand a month, they take your food stamps.
I agree. The way we do our welfare system in America is shitty. It sucks. Our welfare system really, really sucks. So we should change it. We should have, we should have universal health care.
I'm gonna let the OG guy get on here. I'll stay on and just listen or drop or whatever you want.
Not a problem. I do appreciate you. I do drop you for a little
Yeah.
bit, but I appreciate you.
Okay.
All righty. All right, y'all. Go ahead and keep liking the live, keep sharing it. I do apologize that I'm having issues with my camera. Um, it's it's been a bit of a problem. Yeah, my camera's been a little bit of a problem tonight. I do apologize. I'm having these issues. I'm gonna try to get it fixed in a bit. But while we're here, over on my YouTube, I'm pretty clear. I appreciate everyone who's talking on the YouTube. If you're on the Twitch or on the Facebook, I appreciate you there as well. You guys are amazing. If you're looking at me through Instagram, you guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. Go ahead and hit those likes, and we can go ahead and continue the conversation and keep on talking. Shout out to Ding Dong. Appreciate you. Yeah, Ding Dong. Over on my TikTok, the camera's kind of sticky, kind of messy. I'm trying to get that fixed now, but we'll probably get it fixed a little later. All right, OJ, how's it going? Are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Yeah, I'm in my 30s. I I was listening in on another live, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard you say that you only value sentient life. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about abortions?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to abortion, I kind of well, I really value when it becomes like a sentient human being. Not really before that.
Gotcha. And how do you? I mean, do you have a definition for sentient human being? Because you know there's not a scientific consensus on what a sentient human being is, right? Are you aware of that?
There is some a sentient human being is anyone that has a conscious sentient experience.
Correct. So the definition is someone that possesses the capacity to experience sensations, emotions, and consciousness.
Right.
The problem is we really have not defined when consciousness starts, right? That's really the issue. So are you saying consciousness starts at the point of birth?
It does not.
Okay, so if consciousness does not start at birth, then by your definition, a baby that's just born wouldn't be sentient, then would it?
No, consciousness starts, if I'm not mistaken, around 20 to 23 weeks. Hold on, give me a second. There we go.
I've heard a lot of
If I'm not
various things.
mistaken, yeah, consciousness starts around 21, 22, 23 weeks, around that time.
Right.
I err
But
on the side of cautious. I err on the side of caution. So I put it around 21.
okay, I mean, even if because I've read reports where people put it at 30 weeks. I've seen later ones, but I don't. For
Same.
my argument, that doesn't matter as much. But I guess my question is, I'm really trying to like nail down exactly when you think sentience start. So then, if that's the case, then consciousness is not a required prerequisite for sentience. Then
Oh no, no, it is. Consciousness is
okay,
required because we know when they can like the part of the brain or the brainstem that's responsible for like conscious sense experience. We know what that is because when every time that it is damaged, a person doesn't have consciousness anymore, or their brain basically suffers and dies. Right. So we know what that part is, and we know that that part doesn't grow until about 21, 22 weeks. I think it's basically developed at 22 weeks, and it starts growing around 21. So
so
around
then
that
you
time when it's 21 weeks, that's when I see, okay, they're about to, or they do have a conscious sense experience. So that's when I kind of cut off or try to keep the baby alive if you're going to have an abortion.
okay, gotcha. So then you think then a baby would be a sentient at, let's just say, although it might be a bit arbitrary, at 21 weeks then.
21, 22, yeah, around there.
21, 21. Okay, that's consistent. At least you're consistent, man. Because I've spoken to a lot of people that are pro-abortion, and they really get hung up once you drill down sentience and what it means, especially once you consider that most of them are gonna assume that your consciousness is a requirement for sentience. So no worries there. I do have one more thing I
Sure.
do want to talk about before Mike comes on. The whole police thing, and generally speaking, I see where you're coming from. I guess for me, when you were talking to the other guy, Tyga, I think his name was.
Mhm.
It wasn't clear to me practically what you wanted done. I think from an ideological perspective, it made complete sense to me. But then for me, where I was having a hard time is how do you then translate that ideology into practice, right? So are we talking about no pew pew? I gotta be careful since it's TikTok.
Mhm.
Or we like what does that look like practically? And because I mean, obviously, I think so. You're in Orlando. I'm in Tampa.
Mhm.
We both obviously pretty much saw what happened in Jacksonville, right, with that
Mhm.
footage of the cop. And so, I tend to agree with you. I guess I'm just curious in what you think that looks like practically.
There needs to be a complete restructuring of how policing is done all over the country. If it were up to me, I would require uh, psychological testing for policing. I also will require probably at least an associate's or bachelor's degree in psychology. I would require knowing how to basically if not psychology then some sort of degrees in the humanities, you know, like social services or social work, psychology, mental health counseling, things like that in order to be a police officer, right? I would also require a lot more time in de-escalation training, at least a year in de-escalation training. I would also try to decouple stereotypes, you know what I'm saying, and not just like stereotypes based around race, but stereotypes based around poverty. Because the police don't only harass poor black people, they also harass poor white people because of stereotypes around them as well. You know what I mean? Like, you know, lazy, uncouth, unintelligent, drunkards, et cetera, et cetera. So I would go through those type of tests, those type of rigorous, you know, getting rid of their biases and unconscious biasness, and yeah, go from there. I wouldn't want a society that's less violent as well, because police, like I said, are only supposed to be peacekeepers. They're supposed to be keeping the peace.
Agreed.
Now,
Agreed.
so when it comes to that, right, we need to alleviate some things that cause crime and poverty. I mean, like crime and violence, which is poverty. That's the major driver, right? So if we do more things to have a more educated society, we do more things to have people, you know, be able to go into the workforce or move their way up, to have, my bad, go, give me a second.
Yep.
Yeah, to have like more economic mobility, then we would see less violence. We would see less crime. We would see less things like that.
No, I definitely agree. I think sort of the socioeconomic factor is the biggest variable. But the one thing I would add is that we need to identify a way to incentivize the good police officers to hold the bad ones accountable, and in a way to where they can break away from the blue code and things of that nature. Because I think that doesn't help a lot.
Yeah,
The
sure.
last thing
Target the pensions.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And so, and I'll just say one last thing. This is more of a comment. So in the last debate, and I was listening to it or whatever. I wasn't on here, but you guys said something, and I don't want to go into it. It's just more of a comment, something for you to consider. When you guys were talking about chewing the cud and how you said scripture was wrong, and rabbits don't chew cud. I really wanted to say that, So what they do is a form of psychotrophy, which is a slight form of re-ingesting what they partially digested, which is not necessarily chewing of the cud by modern definition, but it's similar. So it's possible that the author was describing something that they saw and they conveyed it as chewing in the cud, and through translation, everything else, that doesn't necessarily meet the modern definition of what we call chewing of the cud. So that wouldn't explicitly make it a lie per se. But in terms of the letter of how that's defined, yes, hares don't chew cud. And I wanted to throw that out there.
Right.
Just
I
so that
wasn't. My entire point was that not that it was a lie, but that it was wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like for me, when it comes to holy scriptures, yeah, for me when it comes to holy scriptures, like one thing I've always said is that there are a lot of things in there where they describe actual real people and actual real events, but that doesn't make that the legendary things around them, the entire magic thing around them, it doesn't make that thing true. You see what I'm saying? Because yeah, like the Quran actually mentions people who actually did exist, right? Like Muhammad was a real guy, Buddha was also a real guy, and I'm pretty sure that the Bhagavad Gita mentions actual real people that actually did exist thousands of years ago in India. It does mention those people, right? But it doesn't mean that Brahma or is the creator of the sky, or that Buddha like sat under a tree for 10 years and never ate. It doesn't mean those things. So we need to actually like look at these scriptures, like look at these stories to see what is actually something that we should actually believe, or what's the reason why we do believe it if we have no reason to believe it, no evidence of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I guess where I would challenge you is it possible that the author is describing what he perceived as chewing of the cud, and how if that was defined that way back then, which doesn't necessarily meet the modern definition of what it means to chew the cud? I just want you to be open to that, right? As opposed to just flat out saying, because I'm not arguing that it's wrong. And in terms of today's definition, you're 100% correct. I'm not debating that part, but just throwing that as a possibility. But other than that, man, you know, it's funny, man. I'm a Christian. I know you're not. There's a lot of things I disagree with you, but I appreciate you because you're not disingenuous. You're intellectually honest, and you're respectful to your guests, and I appreciate that because a lot of people that host they're not. So, you know, we may disagree, but shout out to you as a fellow Haitian as well. So keep doing your thing, man. I'm a support, man. So have a good night.
you too, man. I appreciate you. All right, guys, go ahead and keep liking the live, y'all. I'm only at 2.2K likes. I know this because of the issue of my camera. I finally got my camera fixed. I finally got it fixed. I appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and keep liking the live. Please keep sharing it. If you know anyone that would love to talk about these things, go ahead and bring them up. I know we went way off track when when my first guest, when we went into the Bible and everything like that. We got way off track, but I appreciate you guys still sticking with me, still sticking here. Shout out to everyone who's watching me on the YouTube, watching me on the Instagram, watching me on the Facebook, and watching me on Twitch. You guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. If you would like to join the conversation, you can go ahead and join. Let me bring up my control room. You could go ahead and join the conversation. The link is up in my control room. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and move on, and we're gonna go ahead and keep on trucking. King Avril, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
I'm all right, King Avril. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with something I have on the board?
Well over 18. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you have on the board. I think a lot of these things are needed, especially for disadvantaged people. But I'd like you to break down your reasoning or your thoughts on reparations and who should get it, how should it be disseminated, and for how long.
Gotcha. All right. So, which is kind of funny because the FBI just released papers or basically things on MLK where he says that it should be $20 billion a year for the next 50 years in order until the Black American community is restored. I agree with that. Probably not a billion. I think probably not 50 billion. I think it should be a little bit more than that. I think it should be at least close to 500 billion, or at least matching our military budget, right? Because our military budget is about to be at a trillion. The last measurements that I seen, reparations for African Americans would be probably $60 trillion, which I understand can't happen all at once, right? That's just about impossible. But what I would suggest is to break it up according to years. I would say at least $500 billion towards the African American community each year over the next 30 to 40 years, or however long it takes. You see what I'm saying? And that money should go towards rebuilding the school districts. That money should go towards things like reforming our entire criminal justice system. That money should also go towards like monetary compensation, not just for slavery, but for redlining. It should go into courses like, of course, financial literacy. But the way that I would reform the school system is that every red line community, every school that was in a red line zone should receive funds in order for those schools to expand into technical programs. So every single student that graduates from those high schools will be able to graduate with some sort of trade in their hands. CNA, LPN, medical billing and coding, pipe welders, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, CDL, things like that. all those schools in the red line area, it should happen to those areas first because they were the most affected by it. I want it to be nationwide, but it should happen first in those red line communities. So those students who graduate from those schools, they'll be able to get into the workforce. You see what I'm saying? And being in the workforce and possibly still be able to go to college, and they be able to afford more of their college because they're in the workforce. You see what I'm saying? So that builds an economic base for them, and the money that can go into compensation for redlining in the GI Bill, the war on drugs, et cetera, can go into more of the adults or the older African American individuals to rebuild their lives. You see what I'm saying? Now, who should it go to? I think it should go directly to African Americans because myself, right? My parents came here from Haiti in the 1970s, so they didn't experience redlining. They didn't experience the GI Bill being withheld from African Americans. They didn't experience Jim Crow. They didn't experience any of that. So now the United States did affect Haiti. They did. So there should be some compensation there to the Haitian government, but that should come after African Americans receive their reparations. Then we can talk about what my people need from the United States. The main reparations that Haiti should get, it should be from France. I think Jamaica should get it from the UK. Nigeria should also get it from the UK. Kenya from the UK. The UK owes a lot of people. I'll tell you that much. You see what I'm saying? Right. And it shouldn't stop there. I think Afro-Colombians should get reparations from Spain because a lot of us forget that Spain was also involved in the slave trade. You know what I'm saying? So I think they should get it as well. Dominican Republic, I would support them getting it, but a lot of them don't even view themselves as part of the larger black diaspora for some reason. Now, some of them do, but a lot of them don't. So they'll have to figure that part out. You see what I'm saying? But like that's the way that I think it should operate. Was all that clear and made sense?
Yeah. What about also the government looking into private companies that benefited from it? Shouldn't they also be on the hook for paying back too?
Yes.
Like
Well,
JP Morgan Chase and all other these investment banks that profited off of people.
100%. JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Navy Federal, that discriminated against black and Hispanic homeowners like I think a year or two ago. IBM, as OJ just said, companies that profit off of prison labor, because we already know they profit off of prison labor because they know that the criminal justice system targets black people. So them as well. They all should put in.
And what about here's another other scenario. Putting a freeze on redistricting. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that needs to happen. Because black communities get gerrymandered to hell, right? Which is why like Alabama is the way that is now. Alabama's been a red state for the past since the civil rights movement, because of redistricting. All because of redistricting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's actually wow. I never thought about that. You brought up something new. I'm going to add that to the reparations proposal. The one that I want to see. I'm gonna add that, like a freeze on redistricting, a freeze on gerrymandering, or if they're going to redistrict and gerrymander, it should be done by an independent council or ran by black people themselves, and we can redistrict our own selves instead of someone else redistricting. So yeah, 100% agreed. That's a very good point.
So do you think it should be a shared proposition between community members, governments, churches, and private entities that know how to help investment within black communities?
Yeah. One thing that I learned about was something called the Freedmen's Bank. That's something that came out when slavery was first abolished in America. Excuse me. When slavery was first, abolished in America. We already know abolished. When it was first abolished in America, yeah, that's the Freedmen's Bank came up. I think we should bring back the Freedmen's Bank, and run it by people who are
the people who might not know what that is.
Okay, yeah, the Freedmen's Bank was basically a bank that was set out to help newly freed African Americans to build an economic base. But of course, because of discrimination, because of racism, and because of straight up capitalist greed, it got shut down years later. And I think if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Irish were allowed to use the bank as well. But I'm not sure about that. I did hear something about that though. But yeah, I think the Freedmen's Bank should come back, and it should be ran by African American individuals who are skilled in finance, know banking, know their shit basically, know how to run a bank. Because that was the issue with the Freeman's Bank before. It was ran by people who didn't know what the hell they were doing. Not only did not know what the hell they were doing, but many of them were white people who did not sympathize with black people at all, and essentially just kind of pocketed a lot of that money. You see what I'm saying? So it should be ran by people who know what they're doing and who actually care for the community. Now, I would say to target financial experts who are black, but of course, being a federal agency, they can't discriminate. So there's gonna be white folks or Asian folks who are part of that bank. That's just the way that it is. But it should target for leaders of that bank. It should be targeted towards African American like financial experts. Doesn't even have to be some sort of guru. If you graduated with a master's degree in finance, boom, the Freeman's Bank is for you. You know what I mean? That's how I think it should operate.
Right. Agree. I also think that money should be set aside for any African American, any ADOS who wants to go back to Africa. And what do you think that amount should be? Because there are people out there, I think, that may want to not stay here. And if they have the opportunity to go back to the motherland, I think they should be financed to help them move back.
Yeah, I could see that. So like a repatriation fund. Yeah.
Yes.
Here's an interesting thing about that. Something that I've always wanted to do. And it kind of breaks my heart because the Atlantic slave trade cut off a lot of family. You know what I mean? So we could have cousins that are still alive over there and we don't even know it. You see what I'm saying? So a repatriation fund, and I would also say like a family reuniting fund, essentially, where that part of the money it goes to, just like how you said, repatriation to Africa, but also funds to try to find your long lost cousin, your long lost family member from over there. You see what I'm saying? Because even though like a lot of us were taken or whole families were taken, sometimes brothers were split apart or sisters were split apart or a husband and a wife were split apart. You know what I mean? So like a lot of our family is probably still over there and we don't even know it. Like I could be walking down Nigeria and see a guy who looks just like me. You see what I'm saying? Because he's my cousin.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So but to answer your question, I would say out of the $500 billion each year towards the black community reparations, I would say at least $5 to $7 billion of that should go towards any repatriation. Basically, you know, not just repatriating you over there, like having the money to send you over there, but finding you connections. You know what I'm saying? Work, finding you a job over there, finding you a home over there, finding you like familial connections. Like if you have a second or third or fourth cousin, you know what I mean? Familial connections that way. So that way, all those funds can go not only into repatriating those people, but also giving them a foothold so they can actually survive over there. You see what I mean?
Right. I think also anyone who was put in jail for using drugs should also be set free.
Get them out. Those are political prisoners, in my opinion.
Set up medical facilities to help them transition back into the community. Set up social programs like you part on your list to help people get back on their feet. And so I think a lot of what you have on your list is pretty good. But yeah, I think it's okay. I'm not going to disagree with anything that you have up there.
Okay.
And this
Gotcha.
is my first time on and listening to you. I'm a friend of OJ's actually, and you know, so I'm going to support you down the line.
Gotcha. Hey, I really do appreciate that. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Not a problem. You have a good night.
All right. Night.
All right, guys. I appreciate everyone who's here. I appreciate everyone who's been watching. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull that off. Okay. I appreciate everyone who's been watching. I appreciate everybody who's watching over on my stream, over on YouTube. I did run out of guests. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, guys. I really, really apologize for the camera tonight. My camera was really, really bad tonight. But you can always catch the replays on my YouTube. my YouTube, my Twitch. You can always catch the replays over on there. I always have them up. The whole live is there for you to watch. I'm also gonna be coming out with more videos. So make sure to keep a watch on that. I have videos coming out every day this week. Y'all go ahead and go to my bio, take a look at the link tree, subscribe to the YouTube channels. If you are a Black Atheist, Agnostic, or Skeptic, you can join the Black Atheist Coalition Discord. There's also the Ask Black Atheist Reddit. You can go ahead and check that out as well. But for tonight, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I don't think I got any other guests. Yeah, I don't think I have any other guests. I'll probably stay here for a few. Actually, it's already 10 o'clock. It's already 10:13, and I told my wife I'm going to go only until 9:45. So I am going to go ahead and get out of here. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all go ahead and follow me, subscribe to the YouTubes, and y'all have a wonderful night. All right. I appreciate y'all.